Hey y'all, Rob here with ATX Legal, and this is part 3 of the DWI guide where I'm going to be discussing driver's license consequences because a DWI will mess with your driver's license. And the first thing that you've probably noticed if you've been arrested is they confiscated your license. And a lot of people think, oh, well, they took my license, it must be invalid, it must have been suspended. And that's not actually true. So they confiscate the physical license, but you still do have the right to drive for at least 40 days. If you request an ALR hearing, that can actually put that time off even further, or you can even save your license. So it's a very strange policy that APD and other police departments have, that they confiscate that license even though your license is still valid. Now you have to request an ALR hearing within 15 days of the arrest or you lose that right. If you don't request it, your license will be automatically suspended in 40 days. But to request that hearing, you can either get an attorney to do it, or if you go to the DWI guide, which is linked in the comments below, there is a link to request that ALR hearing, which you can do yourself. Now, sometimes I get questions from my client because I'm able to get their DWI dismissed, but they're like, well, my license is still going to be up for suspension. These are two separate matters. You can think of the ALR hearing as a civil matter. It happens in a civil court. Your DWI case happens in a criminal court. And the two cases run along completely separate lines. You have a different judge, you have a different prosecutor, everything's different about it, and a dismissal in the DWI does not mean that your license will be safe. For the license side, all they have to show is probable cause. They don't have to go beyond reasonable doubt, which is what they have to do in the criminal case. So if they can show probable cause, your license will be suspended. Now, it's still a good idea to have that ALR hearing, even if you think you're going to lose. One, it gives you a little bit of time so you can get used to the idea that you're going to have to make some adjustments, perhaps get an occupational license, which we'll talk about later. But two, it also gives you a chance to question the officer. So if there are issues with the probable cause and you can get them to talk about those issues in the ALR hearing, sometimes that'll help you in the criminal matter as well. Now, if your license is suspended following the ALR hearing, almost everyone qualifies for an occupational license. This will allow you to keep on driving while your license is suspended. There are some court fees that are involved with getting the ODL. You also have to get together some documents. All told, it's going to cost you about $450, $500. With ATX Legal, the attorney fees are wrapped into the DWI, so it won't cost you any additional attorney fees with ATX Legal. If you're talking to other attorneys, you might want to ask about that and ask if that occupational license is covered. Now, the ALR suspension will last from 90 days on the low end all the way up to 2 years. And the factors that go into that are just whether you refuse or fail the test, whether it's your second time refusing, second time failing, that kind of thing. But it goes from 90 days to 2 years. The occupational license will cover that whole period. Now, if you want the DIY version on how to get your occupational license, the nuts and bolts of those steps are in the DWI guide. You can click the link down below and find those steps. But again, if you hire ATX Legal, we will do those for you. One last note, if you do get that ALR suspension and you have a CDL, the occupational license is not going to allow you to make your CDL valid. There's really no way around that CDL suspension. So if you have a CDL and it's vital for your employment, it's a really good idea to fight that as hard as you can. And also, unfortunately, just have alternative plans ready to go or start working on alternative plans in case you're not able to drive at work and have to find new employment. None of this is legal advice, but if you do want legal advice on your DWI, you can visit us at atx.legal.